Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to talk about some of the skills that you may need if you're going after a SOC analyst role or a cybersecurity analyst role, okay? And these are based off of the interviews I've done in the past. Well, actually, I recently, I did these a couple months ago, and believe me, I had quite a few interviews. So these are some of the questions and the recurring scenarios that came up in all those interviews. I'm breaking it down today for you guys. So whenever you go, or if you're going after a SOC analyst role or a cybersecurity analyst role, you'll be prepared. You'll know what to talk about. You'll know what skills you need in order to be successful in that interview. Now, we went over certifications as well. So I'm breaking it down for you guys so you guys can, get a better understanding of what to actually expect when you're going after this cybersecurity or SOC analyst interview.
So skill number one, log analysis and SIEM tools. The first big theme was logs and SIEM tools. They asked me about shadowing a Splunk analyst, looking at different events, and whether I'd actually logged into the tool myself and not just watch someone else. In another interview, they told me straight up, Elastic is going to be our Splunk. It's our SIEM. You need to learn how to find things in logs and use Kibana. So, skill number one is be comfortable searching logs in a SIEM. Splunk, Elastic, whatever. User filters, queries, and dashboards.
Guys, if you're just getting started, no pressure. Spin up a couple VMs, download these free versions of Splunk or either Elastic, learn how to ingest the Windows logs, do a couple scenarios, figure out what's happening at this time with this host, and just scenarios like that will help you go a long way when it comes to these interviews, right? Like for me, I didn't know what Elastic was. Like I was familiar with Splunk, so I was going over what I knew of Splunk, and they're like, yeah, we're using Elastic, we're using Kibana. You may want to, kind of shift your gears to like focusing on what this type of SIEM tool does. So I was able to like I said, download a free version, put it on my VM, spin up a couple of those machines, and I got to work. So don't be afraid to just start. You got to start from somewhere. So guys, skill number two is going to be incident response basics and being able to explain it. Almost every interviewer tested incident response. One asked me how I follow incident response procedures and whether I'm comfortable with playbooks. Another gave me a scenario with someone connecting a MITRE laptop into a separate docking station and asked me to walk them through what I would do. They don't want to memorize buzzwords. They want to hear what you think. They want you to go through identify the incident, contain it, shut it down, the ports, isolate the host, the whole steps, eradicating it, disable, and things like that. I went through the whole steps with them. If you can explain that calmly, using your own words and apply it to a scenario, you're already ahead of a lot of entry-level candidates. So skill number three, MITRE attack and threat mindset. Another thing they brought up was the MITRE attack and the cyber kill chain. They asked me what attack is and how defenders actually use it. The expectation was that you didn't memorize the technique, but that you understood it, right? So it's a knowledge base. That's what I told them. It's a knowledge base of adversary tactics and techniques. We map alerts and incidents to it. I told them we could use it to build detections and playbooks. So having that threat hunter mindset, not just clicking close or, close alert. Yeah, so for number four, right? For skill number four, Windows logs, network, and crypto, some of the gotcha questions were basic, like fundamentals. Can you name the main types of Windows logs, or what's the difference between encryption and hashing? They talked about nieces, digs, ports, Linux commands. They basically, with them, fundamentals still matter, right? So you don't have to be perfect, but you should be comfortable with event security, system logs, and Windows. You should know like basic networking ports like 22, what SSH is, and etc. High-level crypto encryption, like encryption scrambles data, hashing equals integrity check, and fingerprinting. If your foundation is weak, fix that before chasing advanced topics. And that's basically what we talked about within the crypto and that within that realm. So make sure you do what skills for it. Be sure you do your research. So yeah, for number 5, scripting and automation. that was something that constantly came up. If I knew any scripting languages like Python, I actually knew Python, a little bit of Ansible and PowerShell. Multiple times they brought up automation. Because using Python for automated repeated tasks and responses is going to be common. Using Ansible to deploy software and keep tools updated. So I actually did that in another job, so I was actually able to harp on that and kind of expound on it a little bit more, which made me feel good. It made me look good. So, just know that so you can look good during the interview. That's the whole goal, right? One manager literally told me I definitely recommend Python for any security analyst. So I was like, oh, noted. So let's go with Python and go back and start studying. So yeah, so skill number 5 would be able to read and write basic scripts enough to, automate repetitive analyst work tasks. You don't have to be a programmer or nothing like that, but just be able to read a basic script, be able to, write something that can like pull logs, that can, hit the APIs, bulk action on host, certain things. All right, so another thing that looks really good is having a self-study mindset. Something that stood out to me, they weren't just checking for skills, right? They were checking for like your habits. One of the leaders said he looks for people who set up their own home labs, study on their own time, and they are willing to dig into like new tools, elastic AI, and whatever comes next. They're looking for those types of peoples that can be successful in that realm, right? Another manager basically said like cybersecurity is always changing. If you don't like learning in this field, that it isn't for you. And I'm like, I understand that, right? So, isn't a tool, it's a discipline, right? Be ready to say, here, I have VM labs. Here's what I'm doing currently, and here's how I stay up to date on current threats. And that's what they like to hear. So make sure you have some self-study, kind of lingo ready for them, okay? I had like VM labs. I told them that I was working on labs, and I always did stuff outside of work to make myself better. So, all right, so guys, you want to be good at documentation, right? One of the interviews was for more of an operation cyber process role. They talked about writing SOPs and standards, helping with audits and ATO packages, tracking vulnerabilities, and they even talked about patching. This is a side of cybersecurity nobody posts on TikTok, but companies really need it. Basically like your GRC skills. Be able to document what you do. If you can help turn what the team does into playbooks, procedures, and even checklists for audits, you become way more valuable than someone who only knows the tools, right? And again, this was more of the GRC interview that I did. But documentation would be a great skill to have. And guys, the last skill you should always have are your soft skills. Teamwork, asking for help, handling feedback. Finally, they tested soft skills way more than I expected. They asked how I'd handle a situation if my lead was wrong about a process. They wanted to know if I'd be comfortable asking for a second set of eyes on an alert. They emphasized team dynamics, shift work and being able to adapt changing policies or priorities, right? So the message was clear. They'd rather have a junior who asks for help than someone who closes a real threat because they were afraid to look dumb. So your soft skills come in handy when you're going after these type of roles. They want you to be able to communicate clearly, be humble, and protect the team more than your ego. So soft skills, baby, got to get them up. So guys, during the interview also, these are not skills, but certifications came up as well. So, and the main one was the Security Plus as being the DoD baseline. beyond that, they like seeing certs like the Network Plus, OSCP, and then there was certs. There was your CISO Plus and your CISSP, I believe. But notice they spent more time asking about what I could do, whether, other than having a cert list. So use your certs as a door opener, not to substitute your skills. Okay, that was the main takeaway on that. So guys, that is what came up during my interview sessions. So if you want to get yourself prepared, go ahead and study. If you want a deeper dive or a breakdown of any of these, like how to actually build a home SOC lab or how I'm learning Elastic, let me know in the comments. And if you're in that applying and getting rejected phase, now you're not alone. Hit subscribe and we'll figure this cyber journey out together. Thanks for watching.